going on, people? It is your boy Jar back with GPC Week 3. Please excuse me if I sound a little under the weather. I'm kind of going through something. I'm not sure what it really is, but we have GPC Week 3 where we're going up against Fog. I know we just took him on in NPL Minors, but he's in this league too, so we have to play him again. And yeah, so we have a very interesting team this week. So I'll go over to the matchup real quick. As you can see, he has the Mega Gardevoir, Heatran, Salamence, Breloom, Blastoise, Druddigon, Sneasel, Magneton, Gligar, and Gothorita. Now, the first thing I noticed is he does not have a Mega Beedrill switch-in per se. If he wants to bring a bulky Mence, I have a Kyurem who can outspeed that if he doesn't have speed investment and knock that thing out with an Ice Beam. If I click U-turn, that's the only thing on his team that can really take a hit. Blastoise, not as much. Druddigon, maybe he'll bring a Rocky Helmet, Rough Skin Druddigon. The big thing was I don't really have a switch into Mega Gardevoir because he's going to pack Thunderbolt, Psyshock, Hyper Voice, and Taunt, I believe, because that basically beats my entire team with that coverage. Heatran, I'm expecting to come. I'm guaranteeing you it will be Shuka and or Scarfed because that's the only two sets that work versus my team. Mence, Aster brought a Yachi Berry set versus me with 4 attacks, I believe, or something like that, so that could be a threat to my team. Breloom could be a problem. I don't really have any Spore fodder on this team. And Blastoise, not so much. But this week we have a decent matchup, I'd say, but you know, there's a few things here and there. If I don't get webs up, we could be in a lot of trouble. The big thing, let's just get into the team, though, because this week we're packing Kyurem Black. With this set, I can 2-hit KO and OHKO almost everything on his team. OHKO most of his team. Ironhead OHKO's Mega Gardevoir, Ironhead OHKO's Sneasel, Fusion Bolt 2-hit KO's Blastoise, Earth Power OHKO's Heatran, almost through Shuka, if it's offensive. Ice Beam OHKO's Mence through Shuka, I believe, through Yachi, I believe, and yeah, I just tear his team apart with this coverage. So if I can get webs up and get Kyurem in through Beedrill's U-turning, that is what I want to do. So that's kind of Kyurem Black this week. It's modest because I just need this speed to, I believe, outspeed a few Scarfers. After Sticky Webs, maybe not, I don't know. This speed, I'm pretty sure, might just beat outspeed Sneasel for all I know. It's been a while since I've had to build this team. But, yep, Terravolt Expert Belt Kyurem's coming this week. Next up, we got Galvantula, Choice Scarf, because he has the Sneasel, and if he leads with it, I'm assuming it's going to be a Taunt Sneasel. So I don't want to lose a 50-50 and not get webs up. They're too important this week. So I can get my Sticky Webs up no matter what with this set. He doesn't have anything that can outspeed this. Unless he leads with a Scarf Sneasel, which doesn't make any sense because I'd be sashed. So that's what we're running. 330 speed, enough to outspeed his base 100s, 252 special attack. If this thing gets its webs up, it still can put in a bit of work later. His electric resist isn't, it isn't tremendous or anything like that. But yeah. So that's the Galvantula, pretty straightforward. Next up we got Jellicent, Colbur Berry, Water Absorb. This is my Sneasel switch in because Sneasel actually puts in a good amount of work versus my team with Chansey. I really expect it to come. Hidden Power Fighting, Toxic, Recover Scald. I hit Sneasel for a shit ton of damage with the HP Fighting. Colbur with that defense investment allows me to take his hits okay. 16 for any speed creeping that tries to happen, and Spadef for just general take hits better. Toxic to help me wear down Blastoise, and I had to bring Jellicent this week because his hazard removal is Blastoise, and I need my spin blocker this week. Toxic is there to help me wear down the Blastoise, so that's Jellicent, pretty standard again, nothing too special. Next we got kind of a heat set, Celesteal it with Leftovers, Autotomize, HP Ice, Earthquake, and Heavy Slam. Now this thing also OHKOs and 2-hit KOs almost everything on his team except Blastoise. I have to wear down Blastoise in order for this set to work, but I'm running 100 attack Adamant, 252 special attack, so this means my special attack will get boosted if I start killing things. So if Blastoise is dead and I start getting kills, my special attack is going to get the boost, and the reason my special attack is going to get the boost is because I don't need the physical attack to OHKO him with my physical moves. Gardevoir drops to a Heavy Slam, Heatran drops to a Earthquake, Salamence and Breloom drop if I get HP Ice boosts, Druddigon drops to an HP Ice boosted, Sneasel and Magneton both drop to Earthquake and Heavy Slam, Gligar can take my physical moves, but it can't take an HP Ice, and Gothorita is just shit. So that's what we're doing. 181 speed, I will outspeed his Sneasel after I Autotomize up. and I can hopefully win the game with this set. This set is really, really cool. I had to go minus defense nature because a lot of his threats are special attackers that are going to try and hurt me, Gardevoir mainly being one of them. So I had to go this set. I need to get rid of Blastoise if I want this set to work, but yeah, very cool Celesteela set this week. Next up we got Donphan, Assault Vest, Rapid Spin, EQ, Ice Shard, Superpower. The reason max HP, max Spit F, I needed a Magneton switch in basically. Magneton can pose big of threat to my team, especially if webs aren't up and I do not have any Scarfed. So the reason I'm running Earthquake and Superpower, you're probably thinking, Jar, Superpower does not hit his team relatively hard, and you're right, it really doesn't. Nothing that Earthquake can't hit. But the thing is, what he could do is he could bring a Magnet Rise Magneton, and at that point, my Donphan would lose to that set, and I would basically lose to Magneton. So I had to make sure I could beat Magneton with this Donphan set 100% of the time. So Superpower with the 8 attack will drop my attack, but I will 2-hit KO him, and he cannot hit me on the physical side with any move. So pretty happy about that prep. And last but not least, maybe the MVP of this week, Mega Beedrill. Like I said, no switch-ins to this thing. I can just run Adamant since I'm bringing my webs. 144 speed, a lot of in-Spit Def to make sure I can take a Spit F hit. Minus Special Attack Nature, obviously. Drill Run, U-Turn, Poison Jab, and Tailwind. So this is the thought process behind Tailwind. I didn't need a 4th move. I thought about Toxic Spikes, since I'm bringing my Spin Blocker this week, but I decided if my webs somehow go down, if he beats my Jellicent with this Blastoise, and I can send in Beedrill, and I still have my Kyurem in the back, I can sack it, get up a Tailwind, and maybe the 3 turns I have will be enough for my Kyurem to win the game for me. So that's what we're rocking this week versus Fog again, but I will see you guys in the battle, alright? I'm just going to hop over, so give me a second, we'll see you in the battle. And here we are at the battle versus Fog, and he did not bring the Sneasel. He brought the Breloom, the Salamence, the Blastoise, the Heatran, the Gardevoir, and the Magneton. At team preview, here's what my thought process was. Scarf Magneton, the Gardevoir set I talked about earlier, Shuka Heatran, Defensive Blastoise, Intimidate Mence, I didn't know if it would be physical or special, and the Breloom would just be a pretty standard Breloom. Breloom's not too versatile. So looking at the matchup, I decided overall that my best thing at this match is to get webs up. Beedrill, if I weaken Mence and weaken Blastoise, and I get rid of Heatran Shuka, can literally OHKO everything. If I get like 50% on Mence, 50% on Blastoise, and I break the Heatran Shuka, I can win the game with Beedrill on its own. Vice versa, for the same shit applies to Kyurem. The only problem is Kyurem has a better check on this team than Mence, so I was really counting on Beedrill. So Kyurem was a win con. I wanted to get it in as much as I could. If I could keep my Galvantula Volt switching around, would it be really nice, so that's also a plus. The Celesteela, I need to kill Blastoise before it can work, but once Blastoise is gone, the set can put in a shit ton of work. Donphan, good for the Magneton. Jellicent here for the Sneasel, but Sneasel's not here, so it's probably just going to be my most sacked mon. It's pretty good for Mence, but it can't really hit it, so that's my thought process at the team matchup. I overall decided getting my webs up has to be my utmost priority. So I'm going to lead my Galvantula. He leads with Spitfire as Heatran. I think, okay, we might just trade hazards here. Rocks are really good versus my team. I get my webs up. He just fires off a Magma Storm. So at this point, I'm like, yeah, he's probably either a Scarf, but if he was Scarfed, he would probably be running Fire Blast over Magma Storm. So I'm thinking he's Shuka Berry at this point. So Galvantula drops, not too big a deal. It was here for webs. Now, I know he's Shuka, so I can't go into one of my other 2 threats. I'm going into Jellicent to get off a Scald, get some damage. His Scald switch-ins aren't too great, as he brings in his Breloom and I get the burn. Kind of unfortunate happened on the first one, but you know, that happens. It's Scald, it does what it does, 30% every time. Here, I'm just going to make the switch out into my Celesteela. I know it's probably my Spore bait until Blastoise is dead, like I said, but here I'm going to get overly aggressive, too aggressive. So I'm going to switch out my Celesteela. I should have just stayed in. What I kind of anticipated was him to go into his Heatran and or his Magneton and get off another big hit. But the thing is, that wasn't really necessary. If he goes into his Magneton, I just stay in, I lose my Celesteela, it's not too big a deal. As long as I have Kyurem and Beedrill, my offense is going to be fine this game. As long as I have Jellicent and Donphan, my defense should be fine. If he goes into Heatran, I just have Jellicent still, that I can take hits from an offensive Heatran, because I'm a Spit F monster. So Magma Storm will do a lot, but I can definitely recover off that damage, because it's a resisted hit. But I decide going into Beedrill's my best play, as he goes for a Rock Tomb, and that is going to do a shit ton, and this is very, very crucial, because now I basically cannot sweep late game with Beedrill, because as long as his Breloom is alive, he has it for Mach Punch. So at this point, what I should have done is gotten into a different mindset of how can I sweep with Curum Black. But I still try and think Beedrill can pull this game out, and I continue to try to go for the Beedrill sweep. But yeah, switching out with Celesteela was completely unnecessary right there. I could have burned a sleep turn. I have EQ for either of his 2 steel types that want to come in. I can take a hit from full from either of them, so that's 2, and I hit up, and if I would have woken up on the second turn, I A, would have killed Magneton, B, I would have blown the Heatran Shukaberry back, and then Curum and Beedrill are just ready to go ham, so definitely not the right play. I got way too aggressive there, and it really cost me. So here, I can't lose my Beedrill. I still need it, so I'm just going to go back out into my Celesteela, and I'm in the same position I was before, with the Breloom staying in. So here, I'm just going to... I burned 1 sleep turn right there, and I'm going to just fire off an Earthquake as he goes into Rizzy-Ments, and... actually, I'm not going to fire off quickly. I'm going to stay in, I'm going to burn a sleep turn. So he goes into Rizzy-Ments, going to click Fire Blast, as I'm just going to wake up this turn and click HP Ice, as he does reveal to be Yache Berry. So my prep gains got that right. He is Yache, but that does a lot. So it looks like he's a physically offensive variant, and he doesn't have a lot of HP. But here, I'm just going to go out into my Jellicent. It's much more... fodder than my Celesteela is at this point, and he's just going to roost up. I'm just going to throw off a Toxic. Toxicking this Ments, it looks to be a bulkier Ments, so that's always really good for me, as he does take a little bit of damage. I take a little bit of damage. He does have Toxic, which is kind of unfortunate, but like I said, Jellicent is one of my least useful Pokemon this game. As here, I'm just going to stay and click Scaldy Draco, so he looks to be a fully special set, as I think I know every move on this Ments now, so it's not too big of a threat, as I'm just going to stay in here, and I'm going to click Recover, as he makes a good play, offensive, out into his Gardevoir. I knew I shouldn't Scald twice. I figured this thing would be Trace, as now I just have to go into my Celesteela, as I figure he's just going to click Hyper Voice. I get that one right. He does just click Hyper Voice, as now I'm put into a little bit of an interesting situation. Now, what I could do here is click Heavy Slim, which is the safe play. I could click Earthquake because expecting Heatran and Magneton in, but what I should have done, honestly, was clicked Autotomize, because he's not going to go hard into his Blastoise on this thing. I don't know why. That's what I would have done. That's kind of what I was expecting, because here I fired off an Earthquake, but because I knew he wasn't going to stay in, because I could be a very fast Celesteela, and he cannot risk losing his Gardevoir from full like this, so my best play was to Autotomize up here and hit whatever came in with the best move I could, but I just chose to fire off an Earthquake here, as he gets a free switch out into his Salamence. Not sure why he made that play. I would have gone Blastoise, but works out for him here. His aggressive play pays off. Mine fucks my Beedrill up. Good play, Fog. As now he's just gonna fire for Draco, and at this point though, I know my Curum with its set can live that Draco Meteor relatively comfortably. I could still take a Mach Punch from a burned Breloom after this, so I'm going to go into it. He does 54. I believe I'm still out of burned Breloom Mach Punch ranges. I'm just going to fire off an Ice Beam, and now the threat of Curum is in. Now, here he's going to make a play out into his Heatran, and I have to make a decision, because I could go out into my Jellicent, but, you know, it wouldn't be the worst play in the world, but I didn't feel like it would give me momentum. I just end up clicking Recover, and whatever he went out into would have a pretty decent matchup versus me. I suppose if he went out into Blastoise, I could have gone back out into my Curum at this point. I could have gone out back into my Curum at this point and handled the Blastoise relatively easily as Fusion. I just have to bank on him not getting a Scald Burn, but... if he went to Magneton, I still have my Donphan at full health. If he went into Breloom, it could be a little bit problematic, but it's burned. I'm pretty sure Jellicent can actually beat it 1v1. If he went out into Guard, though, I could definitely lose another Pokemon, so that was why here I just decided to stay in, lose, and get rid of his Shukaberry mainly. I was still trying to figure out if I could sweep with Beedrill, but as long as that Breloom is there, I just really don't have a shot. As he hits a Magma Storm, doesn't even kill me with my Spadef investment, but unfortunately I will die to the Swirling Magma extra hit that has. So I'm just going to go out into my Beedrill here, click Drill Run, it's my best play. No reason to overpredict on this Heatran, as it's 4-3. It's not looking good for me because if Beedrill was at full here, instead of taking stupid-ass Rock Tomb damage, by the way, I hard switched in case he had Aqua Jet, which I didn't think was too far off because it's a Mega Beedrill. But yeah, if Beedrill was at full, I would be looking really, really good because Breloom's burned. I would just need to wear down this Blastoise. So I go into my Jellicent, can't let him get rid of Webs in case the Magneton is scarfed. So I'm just going to recover up as he reveals Refresh, which is really, really problematic for my team. Refresh Blastoise, I didn't even think of. That was amazing prep on Fog's part. So I'm just going to keep toxing. I can't switch out with my Jellicent here. And like I said, Here, I just need to get some damage off on this thing. Gets a little bit stally. He's finally going to take me out here to Toxic. As I go into my B-Drill, click U-turn, and go out into my Donphan, because that's a lot of damage. And I'm AV max spit off Donphan, so his skulls do about 30%. As you can see, that one doesn't do a whole lot. He doesn't get the burn. Kind of unfortunate, but I still will 2-hit KO him with Earthquake, as he outspeeds me, actually, even with the speed drop. So just going to click EQ here, as I get the damage necessary off, and I'm just going to take a Scald from Torrent boosted Blastoise and die. So now you figure out how this game goes. I'm gonna lose to the Breloom, which is unfortunate because, you know, B-Drill this game, if I hadn't switched it on that Rock Tomb, literally swept at this point, because the Breloom, I can easily take a burned Mach Punch from, like, even if he'd clicked Bullet Seed, I would have been fine, but he clicked Rock Tomb. But if B-Drill was at full health, this Blastoise would die to a Poison Jab, Magneton would die to a Drill Run, Gardevoir would die to a Poison Jab, and Breloom would die to a Poison Jab and couldn't kill me. So if I had played this B-Drill better this game, I easily would have swept through Fog's team. But unfortunately, I got way too aggressive with it in the early game, and it cost me 94% on my B-Drill's health. I knew the game's over at this point, so I just sacked B-Drill, and that is a good game. We lose 3-0, so we're 1-2 with still a +1 differential, so that's kind of funny. But this was definitely a game I could have won. It came down to one play again. It's similar to my Week 1 matchup versus Drew. I didn't necessarily lose. I didn't necessarily lose this game to my opponent. I lost it to myself. I got overly aggressive. Fog made a good play staying in with that Breloom, because I can't say I would have done the same play, but it was burned. Honestly, he could have sacked it at that point. So, but another game, I risked in the game versus Drew, I hurt myself by not knowing that Chansey is faster than Fortress. In this game, I hurt myself because I got overly aggressive with my win con. I want to keep playing aggressively in the GPC because I know it's how I'll win games, but at the same time, I can't be getting so aggressive I'm losing my win cons and costing myself the game, because outside of the B-Drill switch, I thought I played a pretty good game. I set it up for how the late game, how I needed it to play out. I killed things when I could. I think B-Drill still picked up 2 kills, Kyurem picked up 1, so I don't think I played necessarily a bad game this game. I made a few misplays. I don't consider the Celesteela Earthquake a misplay. Fog just made a nice aggressive play. There's definitely a better play I could have made, but I don't think it was a misplay. And, you know, this game, not my best game, but, you know, definitely not my worst. The only thing that cost me, again, the one turn. Like I said, in these games are going to be close. One turn can sway the momentum of these games, and it was the B-Drill turn that cost me the game. Either way, though, Fog played a really good game. He had very nice prep. Go make sure you check him out if you haven't already from my last video. So that is me signing off, though, for now, boys. I will catch you guys later.